So here's another word problem that we were talking about and that I said I would give to you from class today, where we're going to take the linear systems of equations here and we're going to turn them into equations and we're going to use graphing to solve this. So first thing I want you to do is, if you're in first period, notice the question has changed, so make sure that you write this question down and solve it, not the old question. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video, and then what I want you to do is define your variables and write two equations. All right, so pause the video, define your variables, and then write two equations that represents this information. All right, let's go ahead and do this. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to define my variables first. Okay, we know that the quiz has 11 questions worth 60 points. The quiz consists of true and false questions worth 4 points each and multiple choice questions which are worth 6 points each. How many multiple choice questions are on the quiz? So I'm going to say let t equal the number of true, false questions on the quiz. Okay, and then I'm going to let m the number of multiple choice questions on the quiz. Okay, now let's write two equations here. First equation I'm going to look at is I've got 11 questions on this test worth 60 points. Okay, so 60 points is the total amount of questions on the test, which means it has to be the number of true, false, and the number of multiple choice questions added together. So I've got t plus m is equal to 11. All right, next. I know that this has, well, there are 60 points, right? So I knew that the 11 questions is the total number of questions. 60 points is the total of points. So how do I find the value of each question? Well, a true false question is worth 4 points. So 4t will represent the total number of points for all of the multiple choice questions. I'm sorry, true false questions. And 6m will equal the total number of points represented by the multiple choice questions. Okay, and I know that together that's going to equal 60 points. Okay, so now I have two equations, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy these. I want to copy these, and we're going to bring them over to the next page. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to graph these. So here are my equations. I'll paste these in here. Okay, so I have t plus m is equal to 11, and then 4t plus 6m is equal to 60. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my x and y axes. Okay, and so I'm going to put, there's y, and then here is x. Okay, and before I decide what each line represents, let's first label. So the top, let's say we'll do this side as true, false. And we'll do this as multiple choice. Okay. All right. Now, let's look. If I only use, okay, for the red one, if I only use true, let's say the whole test only is composed of only true false questions. That means there's going to be 11, right? And no multiple choice. Or I have 11 multiple choice questions and no true false questions, okay? Those would be my intercepts here, okay? 11 or 11, right? 11 and none of 11 of these and none of these, or 11 of these and none of those. Okay. So those are those. Now I'm also going to look here and I'm going to say, okay, well, if I only use true false questions, right, and each of them are 4 points, how do I make 60 points? Well, 60 divided by 4 is going to be 15. Does that sound right? 15 times 4, 15 times 2 is 30. Yes, 15. So if I have only the points are only made up of true false questions, I'm going to have 15 of them. Okay, and if I look at only multiple choice questions, right, if there's 60 points and each question is worth 6 points, then there would be 10 multiple choice questions. Okay, so I know that I'm going to have to go with 15. So the graph looks pretty good. We'll say every one line here is going to be 1. Okay, so each one represents one question. So we can say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I'll just go one above there. Okay. All right. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What I wanted to try to do there is I wanted to try to find out what my intervals are before I actually graph this, right? So I want to know the spacing between the lines here before I actually start putting them in there so that I knew I had enough space. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's graph this. Let's graph the red equation first, the one that talks about the total number of questions that are on the test, okay? And so if I know that if I have true false questions only, right? True false questions only, I could have 11. Right? And if I know that I have multiple choice questions only, that would be here, I could have 11. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line between these two. And what the line is going to represent here is it's going to tell me all the different ways that I can combine the test questions, right? In order to get to 11. It's all the different ways I can add the questions together to get to 11. So if you look at it, it's like this. Multiple choice, if there's one multiple choice, there has to be 10 true false. If there are 2 multiple choice, there's 9 true false. If there's 3 multiple choice, there's 8 true false, right? All the different ways that you can add the questions up to get to 11. Okay, that's one requirement of this. Okay, the other requirement is we want to know that if you have with the points, right? So let's say you have 60 points, okay, and you only have true false questions on there. If they're 4 points each, you know that you're going to have 15, okay? And so what this is it's saying if you only use true false questions, this is how you would make up 60 points, right? Because each one is worth 4 points. And if I only made up this test of multiple choice, then I would have 10 multiple choice, okay? Because 10 multiple choice questions times 6 each would be equal to 60. And so what this line is going to show us is it's going to represent all the different ways that we can get 60 points or create 60 points from the different amount of questions, okay? And so what you're going to do here is you're going to look to see where do they intersect. Well, we could let's see, here's one intersection it looks like, or not intersection, but let's just test this, okay? Let's make sure we got the right point. So this one is 2, 12, right? So 2, 12. So we know that the multiple choice would be 2 multiple choice, so 2 times 6 would be 12, and then I would have 12 times 4, which is 48, and 48 plus 12 does equal 60, right? So this point right here, this tells us that in order to make 60 points, one way to do that would be 2 multiple choice and 12 true false. And that's what the green line represents. And what you do is you want to see, okay, where do these two things intersect? And what that's going to tell me is this point here is where both of these requirements hold true. Okay, it's where both of them add up to the number of questions add up to 11 questions, and where both of these can add up to 60. Okay, and it's at 8, 3, right? So 8, 3, which means we know that it's 8 multiple choice. Okay, and 3 true false. All right, so if we add that, 8 plus 3, that does equal 11, okay? And let's see, if multiple choice questions are worth 6 points each, okay? 8 times 6, right? Times 6 would be equal to 48 points. Okay, and true false questions are worth 4 points each, so that's going to equal to 12 points. And when I add these together, I end up with 60 points. So when I have 8 multiple choice and 3 true false questions, together it's going to add up to 60 points, and that's my 11 questions. All right, well, I hope you feel better about this. You're going to need to be able to do this and sort of explain it on Monday when you have the retake. So good luck.